Where were you when Lady Di died?
What was the wackiest prank you've ever played on a friend or loved one?
Today on Moments of Madness, we're reviewing 2001's Le Fabuleux Destin d'Amélie Poulain, directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
So, life is fun when your brain is weird.
I'm AJ, and this is Marley, and we're just two random friends talking about stuff and recording it and uploading it to the internet.
Because the internet cares.
Greer cares.
Greer's weird.
That's
We
okay.
love him, but he's weird. He's got 7 senses and they're all active.
We're weird too. There's got to be some other weirdos out there.
Yep. Okay, back to the actual.
How have we been?
It's
been a minute.
It has been a minute. We took a... I was going to say well-deserved break, but, really, we haven't exactly been working that hard on this podcasty thing.
No.
So I don't think we'd earned a holiday there, but the rest of life had caught up with us.
That's true. Something needed to give. So it was the podcast. But it also let us play catch-up a little bit so we could actually plan what we were doing.
It did, and we have some plans now. Oh my god.
So many plans.
Yes, we have a whole Notion board that is now organised so that we can actually use it. Nice and pretty. We are not sponsored by Notion, we just use it and like it.
But Notion, if you want to give us money...
Yeah, give us money for advertising to all 3 of our listeners, yes.
Please send us an email. It's totally going to be worth your time, I swear.
Oh yeah. So, alright, so the plan here is, from now on, that we're going to have a short segment in the beginning to catch up on what we've been up to in the last 2 weeks before diving into a single topic episode instead of, our general shenanigans jumping all over the place trying to cram 3 topics into one podcast. So, AJ, give us your update. What have you been working on and up to?
So, I have broken it down into things I've been consuming. I had a bit of solo car karaoke a few weeks back and pulled out some old favorites.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and so I was listening to the Sundays, which are one of my favorites, and also hearkening way back to early uni, late high school, and listened to Rites of Passage by the Indigo Girls, and then also listened, but not music. I listened through the entire first season of the podcast called City of the Rails by Donnell Morton. It was really, really good. I could not even aspire to hope that any of our stuff would be as good as that, because she's a professional journalist, investigative journalist, and so her research was really good. She interviewed all these people, and she had professional producers and sound engineers and stuff helping her.
Are you saying that our random nothing and tangents isn't anywhere near good enough to be on the same level as a professional journalist?
Yes.
How you undervalue us.
I know. I think, look, I'm not trying to bag our podcast, but obviously aiming for different audiences and functions and purposes there. So, and then I managed to write one whole blog post. Hooray me! I've been reading the Broken Earth trilogy, which is also really good, and I just finished Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. And I have actually managed to do a little bit of knitting. I know I wrote down in the show notes that I did not actually do any knitting yet, but that has changed since I wrote that down. So
real-time update.
I know. And Habitica use has been better.
It has been. I can attest. Yes.
I have been actually contributing to our quest for once. So.
I kicked off a new one today, by the way.
I saw that. I usually log in right at the end of the day and take all my things off that I've done. So I've been getting better with that. Yeah, today I intentionally took a break from swimming, but I've still been doing swimming. I've still been riding my bike to work 1 day a week, and I've managed to do some like little calisthenic things 3 days a week. So it's not making a huge difference, but I'm just trying to get that first step, that first hurdle. So that's been good. Yeah. How about you? I know the answer to this, but how's it been going in Marley's world? No one can see your face, so you have to explain it with the wordy words.
I have to use the wordy words.
You have to use the wordy words.
Look, honestly, I've just been drowning in work. There's a lot of things going on in the project land at work. And I guess I've overextended myself by doing stuff that's outside the normal scope of the role that I perform, which has shot me in the foot. We're kind of at the pointy end of the barrel, and there's some significant problems with it all, so it's been a lot of stress.
Yeah.
I have been doing well on forming some basic habits, though. I've been all over this Habitica stuff, and I've gotten to level 10, and you get to choose a role now, so...
Yeah, what's your class?
I'm a rogue.
Sneaky.
Yep, I'm definitely not on schedule for the quitting coke or smoking. Sadly, there's just... When the stress levels get this high, I just can't. I can't deal with it.
You're not setting yourself up for success
Exactly.
if you try and quit while you're under pressure, so don't do that.
Yeah. And I've been just very much trying to forgive myself and go easy on myself, because I'm picking up so much new stuff at work. Your brain needs plateaus to rest. You can't just keep shoving new stuff into it. So I'm very much forgiving myself for not forming the new habits and stuff I wanted during the downtime, because all of my, even outside of the 9 to 5 grind, has been put into work.
Yeah.
I've been working into the evenings trying to get things over the line and get me to a point where I'm comfortable with what needs to happen next, because I'm very, very, very anxious about what's happening next. So, unfortunately I don't have any great updates there. But, at the same time, I'm very much with the music and the books and stuff, going back and revisiting old nostalgic things.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to a lot of Paul Kelly lately. I've been rereading old books, and on my Audible booky thing when I'm driving, I'm actually listening to Diamond Throne by David Eddings. So David Eddings was actually one of the very first fantasy authors that I read way back in my tween years, so I'm revisiting them. I sort of got the idea from you, because you mentioned that you would like to revisit stuff that you liked as a kid and see how it sets up.
Nothing like a comfort read or a comfort listen when you're kind of over a barrel, right? Like, it
Pretty
just
much
helps you feel a little bit more grounded.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much our updates for, the whole break plus the last 2 weeks, I guess. So, that being said, I guess we should dive into our main course.
Here we go.
So, we always meant to include movies in our rotation, but we didn't really have a plan on what to start with, or, how to decide what to start with. So, we kind of decided while we were planning on our break that we'll take the 1001 movies to watch before you die, and a random number generator, and let the computers decide.
Sort of. Although we had veto rights on
We did have veto rights,
we...
yes, because I think the first one, I was like, I'm not watching that.
Yes. And I think that's fair enough. We shouldn't be forcing ourselves to watch stuff that we're just absolutely not interested in.
Yeah.
Sorry to interject there.
Yeah, we did also go off on a tangent of, if Sin City's on there, I'm not watching that again. No. And a couple of others that we were like, I'm never watching that again. And then we went looking through to see if it was on the list, and then we decided it wasn't, so the list was quasi-trustable. So there was a whole thing that happened. So, but we got Amélie. So, we've watched it, we're here, we're going to give you some stats and facts and what we thought of it.
So I have watched Amélie before, and this is Marley's first watch, So we have two different perspectives. First we'll kick off with a very brief spoiler warning. This is like a almost 25-year-old movie, so I think it's fair enough to have spoilers in this one. Amelie
Let them catch up.
is a romantic comedy, I guess you could call it. It is a French film by the director Jean-Pierre Jeunet. It's a comedy about a young woman who discreetly orchestrates the lives of the people around her. She is also, though, very shy. So she tries to connect with people by manipulating others into outcomes that she thinks would be good for them. It's shot in over 80 locations in Paris, and it is very much similar to some of the films that Jean-Pierre Jeunet has directed, namely Delicatessen, and my personal favorite, The City of Lost Children, which is, I think, the best of the three movies. It definitely received a lot of critical acclaim, for sure. So Rotten Tomato gave it a 90% tomato meter score, and it's got a 95 popcorn meter score. 95%. So
people like these.
Very popular with the average Joe, or at least the average Joe that bothered to go onto the Rotten Tomato site and click a thumbs up, I guess.
I'll have you know, it's 5 popcorns. You have to tell it how many popcorns.
Oh, how many popcorns out of 5? Okay.
Yes.
It's been a while since I actually
ignore
gotten onto Rotten Tomatoes.
So... Yeah, I'm just going to admit right from the start, I'm not exactly a technical movie enthusiast, so I don't know nothing about, viewpoints and vantage and lighting and what makes a movie good by professional critic standards or even by other people's standards. I like what I like. I'm not good with the technical details of what is a technically well executed film or piece of music or art, or I bumble through life liking what I like. But I think it probably helps to know that most people who watched it seem to like it, so it might be good for people to know.
But what were your first impressions of Amélie then?
Well, my very first impression was AJ didn't warn me it was French foreign film. Because I was planning to sort of watch it and take notes at the same time, but I don't know French, so I had to concentrate on the movie the whole way through and read subtitles, which is fine, because I read fast, which is good. Because, if I was a slow reader, I'd be, pausing and going back a lot. I would never recommend my son watch this. He's not a bad reader, he's just not a fast reader. I think, overall, I enjoyed it. Okay. I think a lot of the set decisions and locations and everything, it really, the theme melded well. The characters and the costuming melded well. It all melded really well. So overall, I did enjoy it.
Okay. I definitely loved it the first time that I watched it. As I mentioned, I've already seen other things that Jean-Pierre Jeunet was involved in, and one of my favorite movies of all time was The City of Lost Children. You can definitely see his style coming through in this movie really strongly as well. And it held up well on a rewatch. I think it helped a little bit that I hadn't seen it for a long time, so I was remembering things in some bits and going, oh, I didn't remember that part in others, so it was a little bit fresh. But yeah, it was funny though, because I did feel like in terms of the costumes and the vibe, it's so much a movie of its time. It feels very early 2000s or late 90s. I like now watching movies from that period because you realize how much has changed in 20, 30 years. No one has a cell phone. Everyone's using phone booths. How cool is that? There's not a single laptop.
I was literally, because I was sitting there thinking, I remember Princess Di dying. Did I have a point at that point? No, I didn't. It took me a while to remember specifically that era of my life and what technology I had.
Yeah. No one in the film was carrying a laptop. Um, Everyone used the payphone. Yeah.
The motorized bike though, that was interesting because I don't think that we had those here in Australia at that time. Like they didn't really become a thing over here until much later.
Okay, yeah, sort of moped-y style.
Yeah, but it wasn't moped, it was a pedal bike with a motor.
A
So
motor, yeah.
that particular combination was much later to take off over here. One of the things I sort of picked up on, because like I know that the overarching themes are like relationships, like not just love but familial and everything.
Yeah.
But the ones that seemed to work in the movie were always like attracts like. So like Emily's parents were both like, you know, you sort of hate and likes, and both of them, like, he liked to empty his toolbox, clean it out, put everything back. She liked to empty her handbag, clean it out, put everything back. They were both neurotic in the same sort of way.
Yeah.
And even Emily and, what's his name?
Nino,
thank you. At the end, they're the same sort of neurotic. And when she tried to force Georgette and whatever the creepy stalker guy together, and they're actually quite different, that was falling apart already a few days later.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't like that the overarching theme seemed to be that compatibility was like to like.
As opposed to having complementary
So sometimes opposites really do attract. Like, my father and my stepmother are like relationship goals for me. She's very outgoing. She likes social. She likes people. Dad is an introvert, classic introvert. He's very emotionally contained. Not shut down. He is actually quite passionate and deep. He's just very contained and self. You know,
it's not expressive about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But she draws him out and he sort of grounds her a bit. They work. Yeah. You know, so I really hate it whenever you get to these sorts of movies and the themes tend to be, you know, for true love, because that's what they were talking about, true love. Yeah. So the bar owner or manager or whoever she was like, true love's a formula, you just take two regulars, put them together and it works. And then they did that experiment and it failed.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't agree with the whole just put two regulars together and it works, but I didn't really like the tone. So yeah, there was that was one of the things I picked up on and I didn't like.
Yeah, and maybe I was being a little bit too judgmental of the times, but I do generally dislike movies where two people fall in love, but they don't really
know each other?
Get to know each other first.
Yeah, that was...
And that part really fell through for me. Like, I believe in chemistry and attraction, but that's, in my mind, that's not love. That's just chemistry and
can we stop romanticizing lust? Like, lust can be a first step to a relationship, but the lasting part is when you actually get to know each other.
And I felt like, you know, they kind of ride off into the sunset on his bike together. It's like, but what about their first argument? What about when they find out that he wants 3 kids and she wants no kids or whatever? You know, I find that part much more interesting about romantic relationships and relationships in general, like how people connect.
But there's also the flip side of, like, Emily, though, not relationship based at all. The fact that she seems to think she knows best for everyone, that's concerning.
Look, I really had mixed feelings about that, especially when it came to dealing with the grocer, who was just an absolute raging asshole.
Oh, absolutely.
And I could totally understand her impulse, and also with the neighbor who fooled her into believing that taking photos would cause disaster.
I liked that one. I liked the payback too. That was awesome.
There was a lot of visceral satisfaction in the way that she got her revenge, but on the other hand,
one was a nuisance and one was No, it goes beyond judgy. So the neighbour who convinced her that crashes and everything, that was a prank. That was like a nuisance that, his football game got interfered with, and, you know. But the grocer, she was doing serious psychological damage to him.
Yeah, I know. But, like, on the other hand, he was doing serious psychological damage to his poor assistant.
He was,
well.
but not the bullying kind, which is traumatic. I'm not listening to that, being bullied, been there, done that. But not the kind that makes you question your own sanity and check into a psych ward.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a pretty significant difference to me there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about that one. But the other interesting part was for someone who was basically sheltered, grew up totally sheltered, didn't really have any people interaction, raised by two, let's face it, they were kind of kooky parents.
Yeah.
So weren't exactly showing any sort of average behaviour there as well. She's not in a position to judge people's reactions or what would actually make them happy or anything when you think about it. She's lived in this very, very, very tiny bubble. So if I had to have someone judging what's best for me and what would make me happy, it would not be her. I would not be asking her to do it.
Yeah. But I also think that's kind of, like, part of the point. Like, you're not meant to
She's still
see...
childlike.
Yeah, she's feeling her way into how to be in relationship with those around her. Because she doesn't know. She's literally made it to adulthood without having a really healthy model of how to connect to anyone else.
She definitely did approach it like quasi like a sociopath, though, didn't she? It's like, let's do this and see what happens.
It's an experiment, you know.
Exactly. Instead of talking to people to figure out connections and stuff, I'm just going to manipulate a situation and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I very much related to that, though, especially when I first saw it, because even though I didn't have parents that were quite that kooky, like, I had very loving parents who hugged me, and I didn't mistake, physical contact for a heart condition when I was a small child.
Yeah, that was
because I was loved and cuddled and praised all the time, and I had a very good model of how to connect to people, but I still really related to that absolute inability to just kind of actually be vulnerable with anybody.
Yeah.
So
that part of it I definitely could relate to.
I think I had a real soft spot for this movie because I thought that was portrayed so well. Like, you know, the number of times she almost tried to talk to Nino and then just bailed at the last second, couldn't bring herself to do it. Like, I feel you, girl, I feel you.
Some of the creativity that she came up with, though, was great. Like, that whole the whole scene with the blue arrows where he went up, and that was fantastic.
And I also really, really, like, enduringly love the garden gnome thing. Like, that is, for me, the peak of the movie.
So I know that prank has definitely made its way into popular culture.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen this movie before, but I have done that exact prank on two different people in the last 10 years.
It's definitely not a new concept, but I loved the fact that you really had to pay attention at the beginning that she had a friend who was a stewardess.
Yep.
And you're like, how did that gnome get to Moscow? Oh, yeah, the cat lady.
Yes, I did remember the cat lady, thank God. What did we think of the glass man?
I really liked his character quite a lot. I think it really added to that fairy tale feel to the movie because he's kind of like the wise advisor. And I think also he kind of gave her someone that maybe she could relate to kind of dip her toe into actually building a friendship, because the first person that Amélie was able to kind of connect with was him, and she actually went to his house and talk to him. And even though it was in the framework originally of finding out who the boy was who hid the treasures in her bathroom, like, that was the first time she really kind of allowed a friendship to blossom. And I think that was because he felt safe, because he knew what it was like to be kind of cut off from the world, so she could allow herself to kind of be more vulnerable with him.
Yeah, I found him interesting because he was basically her at the end of her life, like older, but had no escape. Like, he couldn't go out and interact with the world. So, you know, he was, without outright saying it, saying, if I could, I would, you should do this. So I found that really interesting.
And I liked the way they used the painting as a way to make it safe to talk about their own feelings, so that, you know, he could bring up the characters in the painting, and then she could project herself into that to be able to start to understand how to be vulnerable without it being
I've got to
scary.
say, the idea of him painting the same painting every year for 20 years is a little crazy.
I know I wouldn't be able to do that. It would drive me absolutely bonkers.
I like how at the end he was painting something different, though.
Yes, yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
But the thing that really bugs me the most, because I got no closure on it, what happened to the goldfish?
Well, presumably it lived its happy goldfish life in the canal, because they dumped it into the...
I just want to know. I want to know what happened to the goldfish. Because it looks so sad looking back at her. Like, it didn't want to be there. It was trying to kill itself, according to the storyline. But at the same time, it didn't seem to want to leave Emily.
I think it would have been nice if somehow she could have kept up the friendship with the goldfish. And she
it would have been nice.
Stones,
right.
But nobody thinks about the goldfish, you know.
Oh, the poor goldfish. I want the goldfish to have a happy ending.
That'll just have to be a loose end. You can write your fanfic about it.
How would that fanfic go? Once upon a time, I wanted to kill myself because I was in this really horrible household. And now I live in a canal. And by the way, I'm a goldfish.
And here's how I met the goldfish love of my life.
Alright, final rating. And do we think that it belongs on the 1001 movies to watch before you die list? Which is actually 2045 entries.
Yeah, well, because they keep changing it year after year.
How dare they?
What's our rating system? We didn't actually decide this ahead of time, so...
Why don't we just stick with what Rotten Tomatoes does and do the popcorns, 5 popcorns?
Okay.
Out of 5 popcorns.
Out of 5 popcorns, I definitely would give it a 4 out of 5 popcorns. And I definitely agree that it belongs on the 1001 movies to watch before you die. If only because I think it's a really uniquely done film. Like, I really like the way that Jaunet kind of creates these worlds that are like this amazing clockwork. Like, all of these things tie together like some kind of giant Rube Goldberg contraption. And I think he has a really unique vision that is not, your kind of vanilla Hollywood pabulum populist kind of stuff. So even though I'm not really a technical film person either, I do think it brings a lot of like visual interest, and you get to like a lot of the characters as well. Like, especially the ending, you get to kind of see all the different characters that have kind of popped up in the film, kind of, having these lovely little moments. Like, Brett O'Doe showing his grandson, to grab the oysters out of the roast chicken and stuff like that. Like, I feel like it's really heartwarming, and it's ultimately about human connection and how to kind of reach out to the people around you, and I like it.
Fair enough. I think I'd probably give it a solid 3.5 or 4 popcorns myself. Probably will actually rewatch that again someday. I think it was really well done. Even the parts that were irritating, it was like done in such a whimsically sort of way that it wasn't rage disagreement. It was more of a I wouldn't have made that decision sort of disagreement. I don't usually like the art housey type movies, but I think it was like just shy of really being one of those stupidly art housey movies. And I think like the decisions, like I said before, on locations and costuming made it almost like cartoony whimsically. Very colourful, vibrant, alive, even though some of the subject matter was really more life-contained. So that there was a real sort of clash of imagery in my head there. But yeah, I think I agree. I think it probably does belong on the list. I think people should give it a go.
But now we need an outro.
I want my awkward outro. I lost it on the intro. We're doing it on the outro, goddammit.
Okay. Alright. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. So, awkward outro?
Awkward outro.
Awkward outro! Bye, Greer!
Bye, Greer!
We now have a Discord server, as well as all our socials, so links on the website and help us peer pressure Greer into joining us. One of us.
Yes. Or you could just come on and say what you like, or ask us to do an episode on something.
And until next time, keep waving those freak flags high.
And embrace the beautifully bizarre.